Unique Make Audio, man. I'm here. Let's talk about healing the hood. You know what I mean? My channel is trying to really promote as far as preventing people from going down the path that they went down. I took a little psychological classes in prison to find out what was wrong with my mind, because my mind ain't right. I know I ain't right. You know what I mean? And I'm not one in denial, and I don't want y'all to be in denial. Growing up in the hood, it all starts in the home. You know what I mean? The things we see in the home, how we treated in the home, how parents talk to us in the home, how everything starts from in the home. Our moms yell at us. You know what I mean? Our brother pick on us. Our uncles prey on us. Our aunts prey on us. You know what I mean? We feel like everyone is attacking us. And that caused trauma. That caused trauma that's deep within that we don't know nothing about, you know? And a lot of times we don't understand it. But when you recognize it, you have to know how to deal with it. You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of my guests that I have up here, they talk about growing up in their childhood and talk about with their parents and what they went through. Like, you know, Gangsta Lou got up here. He spoke about, you know, growing up with his mother and how his mother reminded him of Raquel from Raising Canaan, you know? And it's like, it's sad to say, but it's real to say that none of us had a guide on how to be a parent, just like we didn't have a guide on how to be a child. You know what I mean? So here it is, two lost souls trying to come together to move forward to try and elevate in life. You know what I mean? So our moms do the best she can with what she has. You know what I mean? Our pops do the best he can with what he has. A lot of times our fathers wasn't there. You know what I mean? Like I said, you know, that's a common, that's a common thread. You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna give you one. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna say no names because he's a personal friend of mine. You know what I mean? I got this one brother and sister. They had a mother that used to smoke crack. You know what I mean? Mom's wasn't a crackhead. You understand what I'm saying? She wasn't out there like that. You know what I mean? She just went out on the weekends. She went out on binges. She was what they called back then in the 80s, a social, you know, crackhead. You know what I mean? A functioning crackhead. You know what I'm saying? But moms went out there. She stayed in during the week, you know, like Monday to Friday. You know what I mean? She was beautiful. She cooked food, you know what I mean, for the neighborhood. The crackheads came up there to eat. The locals came up there to eat. Everybody came up there to eat. Music was playing. It was playing. Weed was being smoked. Drinks was passing. And it was good food because she would cook her ass off. You know what I mean? But she was a beautiful soul. You know what I mean? But then Friday nights, she hit the block. She hit the block running. You know what I mean? So Friday nights, she go out there and she go get high from like Friday to Monday. You know what I mean? Sometimes it lasts a little past Monday. You know what I'm saying? The kids, they was out there, they was selling crack. You know what I mean? And she would help them sell the crack. She'll run the crack fiends to them because she hanging in the crack house with them. You know, big shout out to Unc on 154th Street, just to give one of the crack houses. Big shout out to Nanny, one of the base houses up there on 156th Street. Big shout out to the crack house up there on 172nd Street. And this is not to promote them, so nobody take it. I'm promoting it. I'm just acknowledging what it is as a part of our history that made, you know, the adults that we have today from the trauma that they went through from their childhood yesterday. That's all this is for, nothing else. It's not to promote nothing. But now moms go out there, she do her thing, and she go up in the crack house and she getting high. You know what I mean? She come out, she bring her little customers, bring it to the kids and tell the kids, hey, such and such want this, such and such want that. And they help them sell the crack. They might make a little $5,000-$10,000. The rent is only $30 a month because it's Section 8. You know what I'm saying? So they got more than enough money to do what they want to do, but they had no guidance on what to do with the money. So with no guidance on what to do with the money, they're going to do what they feel is best, and then spend it. You know what I mean? And then what they spend it on, what they see on TV. Wasn't no social media then. You know what I mean? But what they see on TV and what they see around them. They see other dudes driving big fancy cars, wearing big Chuck jewelry. You know what I mean? Wearing Dapper Dan outfits, wearing Sergio Tacchini sweatsuits. You know what I mean? Wearing Gucci, you know, wearing Fendi. You know what I'm saying? Shopping at Macy's. And that's what they want to do. You know what I mean? But, you know, moms do her thing. They get their money. They waste their money. Because moms don't know what to tell them what to do with it. Because all moms want to do is get high from Friday to Monday. You know what I mean? So she go out doing her thing. And the crazy part is, even while the mother is doing this, getting high, they love her. They love her for who she is. You understand? And they don't see nothing wrong with what she's doing because it just became a way of life. That's the way they saw moms growing up. So that's where it is. You know what I mean? So they think that's normal. I know today from where I'm standing at 57, you know what I mean, that that's not normal. You know what I mean? But back then, I thought it was normal. I really thought it was normal. The same way y'all think a lot of things going on right now in your neighborhoods is normal. Like you got these kids, I taught in a class, in Coleman FCI called the Skills Program. The Skills Program was a program where they let kids in, and adults. When I say kids, I mean because their mind frame is still young. Adults, some 40, some 50, some 18, some 20, some 25. But you got all these people that the courts recognize there's something wrong with them. These are the ones that was on, no disrespect, Section 8. So we call them Section 8 babies. You know what I mean? So they got psychological traumas that's not really out there where it's like their mentally dysfunction is showing on the outside. You know what I mean? Their problems is within. You know what I mean? Because they don't know what's going on within them because they're taking the abnormal and making it normal. Like mom's going up the block smoking crack for 4 days, staying in the crack house. Mom's helping them sell crack. Mom's showing them how to sell crack. Mom doing everything to promote their criminal activity. And she's getting high, But at the end of the day, that's still mom. No matter what she do, that's still mom. I know y'all know those type of mothers. You know what I mean? And even fathers. You know what I mean? A father that go in and out of jail, but moms love him, so mom go see him every weekend, bring the kids to go see him. He come out of jail, he go back to jail, come out of jail, go back to jail. It become a revolving door. The child see this and he begin to think that that's normal. You know what I mean? He think it's normal to go in and out of jail, and it's normal to go visit your father in jail. So when they get older and they get in trouble, they wind up in jail, they expect their baby mothers to bring their child to prison. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's the way they was raised, and that became their normalcy. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, they have psychological issues because there's certain things that, triggers to make you want to keep violating to go back to prison. Take DMX, for instance. You know what I mean? He had his childhood trauma where he had no one to talk to, so he started talking to his dog. You know what I mean? And the dogs became his best friend. You know what I mean? Where he actually had conversations with them within their mind. You know what I mean? He wasn't right. You know what I mean? And that's not to disrespect him. That's just one of the psychological traumas that affect us as a child. He wasn't right. You know what I mean? So here it is, Boomer becomes his best friend instead of Lord Johnny. You understand what I'm saying? Because Johnny's not as aggressive of him as him, and Johnny don't really understand him. So he do what he has to do. You know what I mean? Just like a mother helping you sell crack. You believe that selling crack is normal. You go to jail, moms come visit you, mom come bring food, moms do everything she need to do, and she promote the lifestyle that you'll be out in a minute, baby, and we're going to do it all over again. You know what I mean? Because she has no other direction to take them in. But like I was saying, they gotten used to the trauma, and the trauma became a way of life. You know what I mean? It became a way of life. Going in and out of jail is a way of life. Committing violence is a way of life. Like me, I grew up in Jamaica. From how far back as I could remember, I remember our family, my grandfather, him cutting chickens' heads off. The chicken running around with no head. I felt sorry for the chicken because the day before I was playing with the chicken. That morning I was playing with the chicken. And Grandpa come out and said, "Move out the way, boy." You know what I mean? And he grabbed the chicken, throw his neck on the chair, pop and block, and chop the neck off. And the body's still running around going crazy. And I'm looking at that. That's creating psychological trauma within me that I knew nothing about. You understand what I'm saying? Then we had pigeons. You understand what I'm saying? Grandpa throw the pigeon up there, grab it by his little body. The same pigeon that I used to play with, feed. You know what I mean? Clean up his coop. You know what I mean? Throw it up there, chop the neck off, boom. Now here goes the chicken running around, a pigeon running around with no head on. And I'm looking at it and I'm traumatized. I'm like, oh man, I'm like bugging, and Grandpa's looking at me. He's telling me like, boy, stop being a bumble clot, baby. Where I do? Where I for eat? You understand what I said? So now I'm looking at this growing up. And then next thing I know, because Jamaicans, we eat goats. Let's get it right. You understand what I'm saying? So, and that's a delicacy because goats produce milk, so they don't usually kill the goats as much. But to see Grandpa throw the goat up there at Thanksgiving and chop the head off, and he been making me feed it all year round, making me clean up behind it all year round. And then now I'm watching him chop the head off a goat. I'm 6 or 7 years old watching a goat's head being chopped off that I fed, that became my pet. You know what I mean? And when I went to cry and scream and act out as a 7-year-old because of the trauma that I'm seeing, Grandpa tell me, stop your bumbleclot crying. I saw we have to live. We have to eat. We have to eat. We have to feed the family. You understand? The goat doing thing already. You know what I mean? And that's what Grandpa tell us. So now I'm looking at the pigeon, the chicken, and the goat getting his head chopped off. The chicken running around, blood squirting out the top of his neck going on. I can't show this because YouTube ain't going to show it, but I'm just giving you a visual. But now when you see this at 7 years old, 6 years old, you begin to get numb to it, where it becomes the norm. It becomes the norm to see somebody's head getting chopped off, to see blood. You know? Now I'm gonna take you over there to Edgecombe. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna say no names, some of my homies, and I call them homies because they still my homies. You know what I mean? Some of my homies, they took it to the extreme. They come up here in America, they hustling on the block, selling the weed, doing what they got to do. And next thing you know, they got a problem, somebody come in here, do something, and they chop their head off. Chop the head off, put in the garbage bag, and throw it out in the back alley. Because in Jamaica, you just throw the dead goat or the dead whatever in the gully. If you see a dead body, you walk around it. Whenever they come pick up the body, they come pick up the body, and that's the way it is. You know what I mean? So imagine 7 years old walking down the street, and you see the dead body laying out, and your mother walking by holding your hand, and she don't even stop to stare. She don't even make a comment about it. She say, watch out for that. You know what I mean? Like, watch out for that, like if it's just junk. You know what I mean? Like it's just debris on the side of the road when it's a human body on the side of the road. So we become numb to that, where life means nothing. You understand? Only survival. Only survival. So we surviving. You know what I mean? And that's what we call surviving. So now we see this going on. And then, like I said, back to the Edgecombe thing, I'm bouncing around. I want y'all to understand where I'm at because this whole thing is crazy. So now back to Edgecombe. Imagine a man chopping another man's head off and throwing it in the back alley. That's how Harlem was back in the day. Let's get it right. You know what I mean? So now the garbage man go pick up the garbage, he pick up the bag, and you see blood leaking out the bag. You know what I mean? So he opens up the bag and a head falls out, a human head. You know what I mean? Imagine what the police felt like when they first went over there and they found a human head decapitated from the body. You know what I mean? New York took that as, oh my God, this is the worst thing that could happen. But the way I was raised seeing this in Jamaica, this was the norm. This was the norm. You know what I mean? And for me to accept that as the norm means something is wrong with me. Something is definitely psychologically wrong with me. But it was planted from seeing these chickens that I raised, that I fed, that I cleaned the coops. You know what I mean? Get their heads chopped off in front of me. And my grandfather telling me, don't cry for the chicken. We have to survive. So we get to believe that everything we doing or done is done in the premises of survival. You know what I mean? Mom's out there helping you, helping the kids sell crack. That's done in the guise of survival. But at the same time, we poison our community. We're poisoning our neighbors. We're poisoning our loved ones. You know what I mean? But this is the norm. That's where our psychological traumas come in at, where we believe that this is the norm to sell crack to our neighbor. You know what I mean? Where, a lot of people that wouldn't want to admit it. You know what I mean? But we sold crack to pregnant women. We watched them get pregnant in the crack houses. We watched their bumps growing, their little baby bumps growing. And then they continuously coming to buy from us and we continuously selling to them. And we don't even stop to think about the baby within them or anything because of our psychological trauma. This became the norm. If I'm saying something wrong, let me know. I'm just giving you the real. You know what I mean? It's like two little boys coming up in kindergarten and, they walking home from school every day. And every day they walking home, they seeing the grown-ups playing dice. You know what I mean? They seeing the grown-ups stabbing each other over the dice games. You understand what I'm saying? Shooting each other over the dice games. And they do what everyone else do. They run. You know what I mean? But at the same time, when they running and they laughing. Oh, that nigga got his brain blown out. You know what I mean? These are psychological traumas. You understand what I'm saying? And then when they get older, what's going to happen? Tell me. They believe that this is all, you know what I mean? They believe that this is all the norm. You know what I mean? So it's like, these little psychological traumas that we have that we take for granted, that we take as nothing and we take for the norm is not the norm. When somebody from the outside look into our neighborhood and they see, how emotionless we are to blood, to trauma, to violence, to death, to rape. You know what I mean? It's like they look at us like we're savages. But at the end of the day, we love each other. The same way I could say my homie chopped the dude head off and up north doing 675 years. You understand what I'm saying? I say it like it's nothing because it is nothing to me because back then, my mind framed that it was survival. But now at 57 and going through the psychological courses that I went through, I knew that that's not normal. You understand what I'm saying? And, I can't say, I'd be lying if I say that he's not my friend. You know what I mean? I know friends that the courts label serial killers. Dudes was over 30, 40 bodies. You understand what I'm saying? But they're my friends. I understand them. I understand from the trauma that I've been through to understand the trauma that they've been through and why they did the things they did. But that's why I'm saying don't get involved with the game. Stay in school. Stay away from the bull crap because, you don't want to have to go through making these choices. Then when the people pick you up, they want you to tell, did you see who shot the guy at the dice game? You seen who stabbed the guy at the dice game? You seen who raped the little girl? I mean, and then we do what they call, don't snitch. You know what I mean? But that's because that's been embedded in us that you mind your damn business. You know what I mean? If somebody gets shot, from the way I was raised, I looked at it like the nigga deserved it. The nigga did something to piss him off. You know what I mean? Nigga did something to piss him off. You know what I mean? A little girl get raped. Don't hold me for what I'm saying, but this is how it was back then. A little girl get raped. You hear sister got raped. You be like, I think back on a little girl. And you remember she used to always come walking down the street in poom shorts with a belly out and a little breast growing and people looking at her all crazy. And I look at her as a little girl, but others is looking at her as a grown woman because their mind is twisted, because they grew up in a household maybe where they saw little girls or little boys being molested, or maybe they was molested. And that become the norm. You know what I mean? But the things that we accept for the norm is abnormal. It's abnormal, man. It's brute trauma. Psychological subconscious trauma. Subconscious means it's in the back of the head. You know what I mean? And when you see it happen in the front of the head, you take it as, it's normal. You understand what I'm saying? But when you go through the psychological training that I went through, you start to realize that what you consider as the norm is not the norm. It's the abnorm. So, I say all that just to give you all that. Man, what was the title of this joint? Do y'all remember what the title of this joint was that I said? Tell me the title. You know what I mean? What's the title? Healing the Hood. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to heal the hood by letting you know the different circumstances and chances and obstacles that go through the hood, man. I mean, none of that is normal. Like I said, come on, a 6-year-old boy watching a kid watching a chicken that he just fed and watered and cleaned the coop, watching it get the head chopped off, run around with blood squirting everywhere out the top of the neck because there is no head. You know what I mean? And you're looking at the head sitting there on the thing with the eyes wide open from the shock of getting that machete slammed across the neck to decapitate their head from the body. And Grandpa telling you, stop being a coward. This is how we eat. You know what I mean? So that now, I take that as the norm from the way I was raised. But then you got some of us, like my brothers, like my friend, you know what I mean? That went to Edgecombe and decapitated a man. You know what I mean? I justified that in my mind as he's surviving. This is how we eat. Dude violated a spot. Dude could have came back and killed him. Dude could have came back and did anything. So he made his first move. And that's how my mind frame was back then. I know right now, 2021, y'all probably don't understand that, but I'm just letting y'all know that's how my mind frame was back then, man. It's abnormal. I'm telling you it's abnormal because I know now. And there's consequences to that, like my man doing over 600 years in state prison, for that. And you ask him now, 30 years later, you know what I mean? Would he have done it again? And God willing, he done learned more about himself and humanity that he'll say no. But back then, when I heard dude got locked up for chopping dude's head off, I said, man, dude probably tried to come to rob him. He probably called him, and I made all types of excuses and this and that. I'm not going to tell you what he told me because then I'm not going to admit to, him doing it. But I'm not saying his name. So you just understand that these are the psychological traumas that we go through growing up in the hood. You know what I mean? A lot of people can't understand that. So now they nitpicking on things. So here it is, and the crazy part is, it's always our comrades that tell on us. You understand? So you have to pick your comrades better. You have to pick your comrades better. First of all, don't get involved in the game. You know what I mean? Like two boys growing up together. You know what I mean? That's a whole nother story. I got another one where I got two friends that grew up together. They both was born in the same apartment building, him and his mother. You know what I mean? Both mothers was best friends and both of them was pregnant at the same time. Kids was born at the same time. They was raised as brothers. They walked in and out of each other's apartments because back then they left the apartment doors open. We talking about back in the 50s and in the early 50s. You know what I mean? Because these is grown men now. You understand what I'm saying? They grow up together watching all of this, and then they get into the drug game. They start eating from the different psychological traumas they see and the different rules and codes that they heard. If somebody do something to you, you take their head off, you kill them, you do this, you do that, and they follow those codes. You know what I mean? So just like I follow the code that if I get picked up, I shut the fuck up. That's the code that I followed. Now they chose to follow the code that, you know, if somebody do something to you, somebody tell you, you know, you get it how you want. You know what I mean? It's free game. You know what I mean? Now, dude grew up to wind up killing his best friend, the same one that both mothers birthed each other's child and was raised as brothers. Dude wound up killing his best friend, my nigga. Killing his best friend. I'm not going to tell you what he did with the body because then it'd be giving away too much. I just want y'all to understand where we at as far as they know, you know. And this is happening over and over again. Best friends killing best friends. And, you know, growing up when it happened, you know what I mean? If it's not somebody close to you, you take that as the norm. You take that as the norm. You know? Oh, yeah, that nigga did something such and such. Oh, he pissed somebody off. You know what I mean? Somebody get shot, first thing come to my mind when I was in my other frame of mind was, you know what I mean? That nigga did something he wasn't supposed to do. And I laughed at it. And I'm like, it caught up to him because karma is a bitch. Let's get that straight. But like I said, I'm not promoting none of this. I'm just letting y'all know the reals, man. So, you know, don't get involved in it because you don't know when you're going to be put in a situation where, you know, you have to make a decision if you have to harm your best friend, much less killing them. And then you have to deal with the process of healing behind you doing that. Because I wound up seeing the brother that killed his best friend while I was in prison after he did about 15 years. You know what I mean? And he told me that even though his best friend's mother died since he's been in prison, because it killed her on the inside, that a baby that she raised as her own could kill her own baby. And he's telling me that the ghost of the mother keep coming to see him. Sometimes I'm in the cell with him and he's staring in the corner. I'm like, what's up, old man? And he's like, man, she over there fucking with me again. You understand what I'm saying? And I look in the corner, there's nothing there. And he's holding his head and I can see the worry in his eyes. And he look up and he apologized to the corner, to the demons that he's seen from the psychological trauma that he went through that led him up to feeling that it was copacetic to kill his best friend. But these are the things they got to live with. That's why the court system say give a man in jail, give a man life in jail so that he could suffer for the rest of his life. You understand what I'm saying? Don't kill him, don't execute him, because if you kill him, then you're saving him the psychological trauma of knowing what he did and living with that every day, waking up in a 4x8 cell. And they're not trying to rehabilitate him. They're not sending him to no psychological class. They're just doing what they do. You know, I've been on here 20 minutes, man. I don't want to keep this too long. I just want to let you know, man, that all I'm trying to do is heal the hood, man. So I got my gangster friends, you know what I mean? You know, ex-gangster friends, you know, some is gangsters, and we always going to be gangsters because it's sinners. The same way, you know, Bill Clinton is no longer president, Obama is no longer president, Donald Trump is no longer president, but they still call him president because you can't take away our past. So my friends are still gangsters. They're still killers, they're still murderers, you know what I mean? And it's the difference between killing and murdering. Killing is done for survival. My grandfather killed the chicken for us to eat. You understand what I'm saying? When you chop a man's head off, that becomes premeditated. That becomes murder. Because you didn't have to do that unless you felt your life was threatened. You know what I mean? And like the courts would say, if you felt your life was threatened, you would have fired a gun, killed him after you seen the first bloodshed. You would have snapped out of it. They told that to one of my friends. He got robbed, had dreads. Dude took the 5 pounds running from him. He took his gun from under his hat. You understand what I'm saying? Pulled it out and shot him 5 times in the back. He went in and said that it was self-defense and that he felt, you know, traumatized at the moment when it happened. And that's why he fired the 5 bullets. And the court said, we would have went with that if you would have only fired 1 bullet. Because once that first bullet hit a human's body, you were supposed to be humanized enough to know that you did something wrong and that person is now in pain, harm, or could die, and you're supposed to snap out of it. But when you pull that trigger 4 more times, come on, they calling that, you tried to murder that nigga. You know what I mean? And that's all it is. I just really want to give you something on Healing the Hood, man. Just trying to let you know that, you know, the little psychological traumas that we go through, that we take for nothing, man, is bigger than nothing, and go get help. You know what I mean? And that's where a lot of this stems from. Go get help. Go get help. Go talk to somebody. Because as much as I didn't want to go to jail for 26 years, I needed to go to jail. I don't know about for 26 years, but that's what God felt that I needed. But by me going to jail, I learned to, you know, talk to the psychiatrist to find out where my trauma went in and where it got interjected. And what they pulled out was the chicken incident. The chicken incident that I took for nothing, that I told them about it like, okay, like I might tell a story. Y'all, I was walking down the street and this dude was gambling and he started talking crap to the dude after he winning all their money. Then he went to just walk away and he didn't even roll 4, 5, 6, which I explained what CeeLo is. You need 4, 5, 6 to be able to take money out the bank. He said, man, screw y'all, man. I ain't never seen 5,000 in my life. I'm gone. You know what I mean? Because like Kenny Rogers said, you gotta know when to hold them and when to fold them. He felt it was time to fold, but they felt like, nah, you're not going out by the rules. So now that you violate the rules, now you fair game. So dude went and shot him in his face. They took the little 4 or 5,000 back from him. They split it up amongst the people that was there. And I walked by like it was nothing, and the people that was there, they was laughing, and they basically said, F that nigga. And that was a human life. Welcome to the hood. And welcome to Unique Mecca Audio, trying to heal the hood. And only way we're going to heal the hood is through ourselves. So don't say I didn't tell you, man. And like I said, my videos ain't to garner a bunch of views. If that one person is watching this that get what I'm saying, alhamdulillah, I made it. You know what I mean? I gave back towards trying to heal the hood. All I could do is try, but it's up to you where you go from there. I've been on here too long. I don't want to talk you to death. Make sure you leave your comments, subscribe, share the channel. Definitely hit the likes. You know what I mean? Let it know what it is. I'm not bragging. I'm not promoting. I'm not glorifying. I'm just telling you the different aspects of the hood. And right now, we as a people need to come together to heal the hood. So this is how you get in the process of healing the hood. Even if we was together, you know what I mean? Like we was together hustling and doing wrong on the street. Let's get together now and heal together. That's all I'm saying, my brother. You know what I mean? This ain't preaching to you. This is just trying to give back from what I've gotten. Now I'm just going to put this video up raw and just try and save our generation, man. If one kid get this and share this with everyone else, we good. We good. Now, on that note, like I said, man, I'm out. God bless you. Make sure you leave your comments. Speak on this video, man, because this is real to me and to those that's watching this that want to heal. All right?
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Out the can of 26, he back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. An Instagram page and a YouTube you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca Audio. We gon' do Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whiny. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. They be horn uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he tryna stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend a ear. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours. So we can give back to the youth them, cause they the truth them. And bless up to all the road men.